Hi there, Taurus. Thank you for joining me for your year 2016 forecast. There's going to be two areas that are critically important for you. One is going to be how you interact with people and how you guide your future plans, your friendships, your hopes and wishes, if you like. And the other area, which is really going to come under the astral microscope, is a lot more to do with resources. So that can be physical resources in terms of cash or long-term financial planning, pensions, investments, property. Or if you're a more entrepreneurial bull, that side of your nature can also flourish this year. And right from the start of 2016, the sector that is to do with resources is really highlighted, with your ruling planet Venus sparkling in an area which could bring some extra revenue your way as this new year begins, which could really delight you. Because it's possible that over the last year, a previous income source has actually, ironically, dried up. Or you may have found yourself having to be much more cautious about how you approach things. Now, it's a rare Taurus that doesn't like to indulge in the good things in life. And as I've often said before, that can be more material pleasures, it can be more sensual ones, or it can be more earthy ones in terms of good organic vegetables. It just depends on where you are on that spectrum. But as this year begins, Saturn, the planet of structure, but also of restriction, which is in the part of your horoscope influencing the resources in your situation, well, that is going to be forging a fantastic angle to the Sun. One which is going to provide a backdrop for the whole of this year, suggesting that if you can be enterprising in your approach and open-minded and really willing to be a bit more risk-taking in terms of going beyond what you know well, then there can be the opportunity to accumulate more. But whether it will fit in exactly with your vision or hopes is another matter. Because this is a year that begins initially with a clash between Pluto and Uranus, one which has been causing mischief for us all and the wider world for some years. But the last 3 months of this particular aspect are January, February and March of 2016. For you, I feel this has almost been like a restlessness, a desire to break away from restrictions, perhaps some that you're imposing upon yourself in terms of your horizons, or perhaps being confined by your own inadequacies if you're really truthful about it. Or in other ways, it may be that other people seem to keep putting situations and circumstances upon you which have made you feel very penned in, like your independence is constantly being compromised. And all of this, quite consistently over the last 3 or 4 years, may have had quite a heavy and jarring impact on your emotional well-being. Well, the last 3 months of this particular transit are the first 3 months of this year. So it is something to celebrate, but there is a little more to go through before you get to that point of freedom. However, the sign of Pisces, which is going to be so key this year, really is emphasised once you get through to March, because then there is a solar eclipse. This solar eclipse on the 9th is going to be an opportunity for you to be a lot more enterprising about the way you want to go in your life, in terms of the people you network with and socialise with. But you need to be conscious of the lunar eclipse, which occurs on the 23rd of the month. Now these two eclipses work in pairs, and this is in the sign of Libra, so this is much more to do with precision. So it's basically saying to you, whatever you try to achieve in your big picture, you must be mindful of the detail in order for it to come together. And also Mars, the power planet, well, that arrives in the sign of Sagittarius at the start of March, and it's going to be in Sagittarius for 5 long months this year. It's not continuous, because in June and also July, Mars reverses back into your opposite sign, which can make you feistier and much more go-getting if you're wanting to bring someone new into your world in a romantic context. If that's not so much your point of focus, it's possible that you can be much more attacking in terms of of demonstrating that you're a competitive person who can cut the mustard in the fast-moving world of work, or if you're sporty, it could be in that arena that you're going to shine in June and July. But then in August and September, Mars hops back into the sign of Sagittarius, and in fact in August it's going to be combining with Saturn. So it's possible that when it comes to your resources and how you use them, a property matter, a business partnership, or some kind of idea you've got to improve your fortune, that August is going to be a key month and almost make or break. But the other key influence that's almost going to be replacing the big Pluto square Uranus influence is going to be one that occurred in the last 2 months of last year. And that's Neptune squaring up with Saturn. And this is a really difficult influence as well. This goes on from the end of May through to October. For you, it's specifically saying to you that you need to be conscious that those friendships that are so important to you, or your future direction, or those associations, just always be conscious about what you put in, but also what you get out. You can't always make a trade in life. We can't, in terms of tangible things. Sometimes it's a more spiritual connection or contribution that we make or receive. But there could be something that you're involved with. It could be a group of friends. It could be some politics. It could be a big hope of yours that doesn't necessarily feed you in a more practical way. And that can be quite draining for you across those months, but particularly from June through to October. Now, September is also going to be a critical month for us all this year. On the first day, there is another solar eclipse, but this one's superb for you because it's really pushing you to be much more enterprising and outgoing. And the wonderful thing is that Jupiter, the planet of fortune, although it is going to be going backwards from January the 8th through till May the 8th, that's going to continue in a brilliant area for you right through to the early part of September. So there is the potential for fortune around risk-taking, but also creativity, flair, children, and potentially even your love life if that's what you're looking for, as long as you're very mindful about what you put in, what you get out, and your expectations. Now, your expectations come back under the astral focus once Jupiter moves, and it moves into a much more practical area for you. And this is asking you from September through to the end of the year to be much more aware of excesses, but particularly those that affect your well-being and health. Overworking, eating the wrong kind of things that don't really give you the nutrients you need. And then, once again, on the 16th of September, you have a lunar eclipse, which is in the sign of Pisces again. So you can see the theme, an awful lot of energy around Sagittarius and Pisces. And then once Mars emerges in October into a much freer part of your horoscope, he is going to be going side by side with Pluto. This could see you in the middle of October having a bit of a battle of wills with someone about a point of principle, but then it could see you having a major breakthrough about something that's hugely important to you. If you're involved in a legal matter, it's vital that you are honest and straightforward in the way that you deal with this. Now, as the year comes to a close, November and the early part of December can see you doing fabulously well around your goals, and you can show a much more strident, self-confident approach if you can get those details right. But as the year comes to a close, there is a very murky link between Mars and Neptune right at the end of 2016. And if you are unsure about one particular friend or group of people, or even your own motives, you may have to finally grapple with it as the curtain comes down on what can be a really important year for you. It's been a real pleasure being with you. Thank you for joining me. Good luck and goodbye for now.